Hi, I'm Emily Drew. I'm a volunteer here at Hacienda Merida, interviewing Alvaro Molina, the founder of Ometepe Bilingual School and the owner of the hotel, and we're here to talk about the waste management on the island. So, where is all of this non-biodegradable trash coming from? What are all of the sources?
Well, it comes from all over the world, from Canada, Germany, China, Nicaragua, in the form of packaging. So you have Dove. This is a U.S. brand. Procter & Gamble with their crest. So what do you do with these bottles? It's all trash. You have Gillette. This is for women. Satin Care Gillette for shaving. But they also have the male version. My crutches. This is made, I don't know where it's made, but it's already coming apart. So I have to figure out what to do with this.
Yes.
Price Mart or Costco, they sell iced tea mixed. What do you do with this plastic bag? Same Costco sells this crustal buttermilk pancake packaging. This is a heavy duty plastic bag. So we have to figure out what to do with it. This is a German product for your feet. Talc. Okay. This is Merck, a multinational. So I'll take this myself for anti-inflammatory for my pelvic. So you have a syringe in there, heavy duty plastic, sterilized. Chips. These are purchased by the thousands by the kids. Colgate. This is a toothpaste. What do you do with the toothpaste once you're done with it? There it is, heavy duty plastic. The straws. You use a straw, where every time you use a straw you're going to be using plastic. Ritz cookies. We're here in the island of Ometepe and all this junk food is landing by the loads. And don't forget about Oreos, very popular. Again, what do you do with the plastic wrapping? And if I dig more into this plastic bag that I'm holding, you also find Snickers. This is $1 each, very expensive. 28 Cordobas they sold us this, about $1.05. Again, if you want to use floss, whether it's Colgate or something made by Procter & Gamble, it's the same situation. This is heavy duty packaging. What do you do with it? We don't know. So this is diclofenac cream. Again, a plastic tube. You're done with it. What do you do? So the list is endless. And of course the bags. People using bags left and right.
Yeah.
The solution we found is through reducing the amount of garbage by providing tourists with water in the form of 5-gallon jars. Okay, so people here will refill and refill and refill. The ideal situation is for them to come with aluminum reusable containers.
Yes.
But most people don't. Those people that do that, they're an endangered species. Where's the bottle of Fuente Pura? You have it there somewhere.
Yes.
So this is a Fuente Pura bottle. People will pay anywhere from $1 to $1.50 each, 1.5 liters. And then it's left behind. So this hotel alone, on average, we get about 10,000 bottles that are left behind by the tourists. Because the locals don't consume filtered water. The water is also transported from Managua, this type of water.
Okay.
So it travels like a couple of 100 miles before it reaches over here. We also have a water filtration unit here in San Ramon, which is 4 kilometers from here. So we buy our water there. So we take the jars and refill them, bring them back over here. But eventually they crack.
Yeah.
So we also use this as garbage containers. So we've been packing 5-gallon jars until they filled up and compacted. And sometimes they reach up to 9 to 10 pounds each. And then we also have the Ecobrick which is one same bottle, empty, and you start compacting it with garbage. We've been doing this for close to 10 years. And then you figured out to build with it. So we build tables, stools, walls, floorings. Our school is made out of trash, out of garbage. So we transform it. We don't recycle it. We just keep it here in the village. Very useful. We don't see it as a problem. We see it as an opportunity. It takes a lot of time to do this. About 30 minutes of somebody stuffing by hand, manually pressing on this with a little stick. It could be a metal stick, it could be a toothbrush. Toothbrushes are great because they also go in there, they become garbage.
Yes.
And then, as you can see, all aluminum wrappings and plastic bags, a combination of all this junk food from multinationals. So the garbage doesn't have any governance at all. And it comes from all over the world. And now poor countries are buying it left and right. So if you can imagine this little village of only 270 families, 1,700 people, we accumulated all this garbage with low income. So it's not like we have a lot of money to buy fancy stuff and generate more garbage along with it. So it comes little by little, it trickles down and trickles down and trickles down.
Okay, that makes sense. So we talked a little bit earlier about the water treatment system, and so some of it is brought in from the mainland, but then a lot of it is also purified at San Ramon.
Very little of it, actually.
Oh, okay.
Only what is consumed at this hotel.
Okay.
The rest of the water that is brought in from the mainland, from Managua, this is where the large, gigantic processing plants are located. It's either Coke, Pepsi, or the beer company. Coke has their own brand for water. Pepsi has their own brand. It's called Aqua. Coke has another different brand, and the beer company has Fuente Pura. That's their water. So they're all competing over water. So this treatment plant here is used there in San Ramon at the biological station where you enter. So they produce their own water, and then they sell water to us in 5-gallon jars.
Okay.
So we have to move the water only 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
So do it in my pickup.
Okay. All right. So I guess I feel like this is probably the best solution to all of this trash, the non-biodegradable trash being brought in on the island, and the tourists needing to have purified water. Do you think to reduce these kinds of bottles, this amount, it would be better to enforce or encourage all of the tourists to bring their own refillable bottles?
Yeah, that'll be the perfect solution. But how do you do that? I mean, people are not necessarily choosing places where they're spending their money to environmental health.
Yeah.
So it's not like their pockets are not focusing on the healthy environment. They're focusing on where they're providing the services. So eventually, if you can somehow link environmental health with the tourists spending the money, and then consumer behavior, that's what you're saying. People focusing in, if we're going to go to Nicaragua, if we're going to go to Costa Rica, let's pack in those aluminum cans, or you even have different types of reusable containers. Could be plastic containers too, but you keep using it and reusing. You can even use this one over and over and over.
Yeah.
The same bottle you could be using. Every once in a while you sanitize it, put a little couple of drops of chlorine, shake it, and you start using it again. But for us, it's not a problem. We do Ecobricks, and we do buildings, tables, walls, all kinds of stuff with it. So.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. I know the canal is very controversial, but as far as the environment...
What do you mean by the canal?
The canal that they're planning to build, the Chinese...
The Nicaraguan canal
yes.
with Chinese funding.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions, and there's very little information about it.
Yes. I was just wondering, like, environmentally speaking, do you think a lot of people are thinking about how that might affect this lake? Because, for example, if that happens, it could be, that this won't be a freshwater lake anymore, and that could make it more difficult to purify this water. If some of this water is being converted into drinking water, you'll have to now desalinate it, which could be expensive.
Yeah, well, actually, the lake water is already being used for human consumption. So there's a city here in Nicaragua called Hinotepe, and they're pumping water from the lake. As far as mixing the water, the salt water with fish fry, I have no idea. We have to look at Panama and see what they're doing with that. The environmental impact and social study has been published already, but it hasn't been published for the government. And that document is 11,000 pages. So
Wow.
it's this much. So who's going to read that?
Yeah.
Who's going to have the capacity to absorb all that information and be able to make educated decisions related to that? So it's like the Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And also you have to ask yourself, where are the workers are going to come from? Are we Nicaraguans going to be working as engineers, as mechanics, as communication people, or whatever opportunities land over here? You have to start looking at what's going on in the local schools, because we are in the canal zone. This island, is located in the canal zone. So the government will have to improve education dramatically in a way that people will take advantage of the jobs that will be available. Otherwise, what you're going to have is an increase in population. And these are fragile areas. This is an island with 2 volcanoes. Resources are limited. You can't have that many people packed into this island. But if we don't have an educated workforce to work in this canal, that nobody knows if it's coming or not. So there's a lot of huge amount of speculations on this canal. So you're going to have an increase on foreign workers. Some people are saying there'll be a village here of 5,000 Chinese somewhere in the island. But it might be just rumors, so you'll never know.
Yeah.
So when that document is published, and there is a draft or a small condensed version of it, of maybe 50, 100 pages, maybe you can start making decisions. They did spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to do these environmental impact studies. What's going to come out of it, I have no idea, because they have been published for the government, but not for the public.
Okay.
So it's not a public document yet.
Right. I guess that's something for the future.
Yes, it is. It might be coming, it might not be coming, so you'll never know.
Okay.
Geopolitically, it's a geopolitical game. Remember, the world now is not, we're not getting governed because, is Merck being responsible for this needle? Once he sells it and the consumer uses it? No. It becomes garbage. Merck is not out there following this needle and this container. And the same thing goes with all the products. It's disposed. There's not a cost associated to the packaging of the product, and then transfer that cost to do something with it, something either useful or reuse it or recycle it. Recycling is not even the answer, because you're basically just spending more energy to do that. Melting, grinding, and so on, and convert it into sacks of pellets, and then send them to China, and then they come back in the form of toys to us.
Yeah.
Behind us is an incredible lake, so we have to figure out a way to take care of it.
Yeah.
Going back to the canal, Nicaragua doesn't have the resources to manage its jungles. So we have vast amounts of rainforest, but we're cutting it down at an alarming rate and turning them into pastures, banana plantations, coffee plantations, pineapple plantations, and so on and so on. Again, multinationals will come in, buy the land, and then start exporting those products back to Europe, the United States, China, and so on. So when you eat a chiquita banana, it usually comes from Ecuador, it comes from Costa Rica, our neighbors next door, but those are incredible, large expanses of what used to be rainforest. That were cut down to transform it into pastures and then banana plantations and so on. So the consumer in the United States, Canada, and Europe, and now China, they want perfect bananas. So the consumer has to change so they can take in all bananas. So you don't have to use a caliper. They use calipers at these plantations to measure the width of the bananas. So they're constantly disposing bananas and throwing them away, creating mountains of banana dumps.
Huh.
So it's all about the consumer, the consumer behavior, and how do you change that in the West, where we consume a hell of a lot more.
Yes.
You know, people are waiting for their next iPhone 6S or whatever, and they even had it. They haven't had it for 6 months. They already want another one. The same situation here. You know, some of our workers, they have iPhones purchased in Amazon, so they save up and save up and save up, and eventually they'll buy the phone. It just takes them longer to buy it. But it all. I'll drop the needle over here. Okay, so what else you got for me?
Trash like this, for example. When this is empty, what would you do with this?
I don't have an answer for that.
Because it can't fit in there.
You won't fit in there. I don't know. We have to ask the Germans. Because this is a German product. If you go look in the back, it's made in Hamburg, Alemania. So, Hansaplast. I have no idea. And this is locked in, so you can't even open it. So you can't even open this to be able to put garbage inside and compact this, unless you crack it or do something with it. Those are the challenges. There's a lot of products that you really can fit in there, just like you take in the Colgate floss. Okay, you take this guy, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So then it's more labor because you will have to probably crack it or get a rock and destroy it. It takes a lot more. Where if you take, for instance, this plastic that came wrapped up in plastic, that goes right in. It won't be a problem. Okay. So.
That's true. Just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So, from what I can see, this is probably the best solution so far, and also just raising awareness within the tourist populations. Yeah, and since it's expensive to, ship this kind of stuff back to the mainland and get it melted down somewhere else, that's just another
Can you imagine
challenge.
sending this back to Germany empty?
Yeah.
It's
It's a
crazy.
problem everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. So
Even more so on the island.
Garbage just doesn't have a political will within the human population for the planet. So it's a political problem. Because once you start taxing, either through importers or local taxes, and keying in all those taxes on the products to get rid of it responsibly, then things will change. But this has to be it's a worldwide, it's a planetary problem, Because why we're dealing here with a German product? So the list is endless on packaging. The packaging industry, all those factories making all these wrappings, what are they contributing? What is Coke doing about it? What is Pepsi doing about it? And what is Procter & Gamble doing about it? Absolutely nothing. So they sell their products, their freaking diapers, they're scattered all over the world.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any more thoughts on the future, or anything you should do or continue to do or do differently?
Well, we have, your generation has a little chance, a small chance of maybe doing something about all this, but it's the future generations, the kids are being born today, children. And if you can figure out a way to educate those masses that they can become leaders in the future with incredible creativity, leadership skills, innovation, and these people in the future will be able to reverse the trend of global warming and environmental destruction, and learn to live with less. We just don't, as humans, we haven't figured that one out. That we can live very simply, not spend a lot of energy, and be happy. Because what happens is the markets and capital have the consumers trapped. They trapped you into buying a car, they trapped you into buying a watch, they trapped you into buying a phone, and all this massive marketing that we get. Almost people are bound to get in debt and slice your credit card, and when you know it, you're up to here with debt, and you owe money to the banks. Some people buy 2 houses or 3 houses, multiple cars. So happiness is linked to, it's not necessarily linked to how much beautiful fancy items you have. It's linked to your time and quality of time. So the quality of time and quality of happiness is what counts, not necessarily how much money you have in your pocket and how are you going to spend that money. So we have to reverse. So with innovation, creativity, we can become humans that will be more perceptive to the problems. We'll understand the problems. We'll do something about the problems. We'll behave. Our human behavior will change. But again, you have to start working with the children. Because it might be too late for you and Diego and Will. I'm not sure.
No,
But you'll never know. But the fact is, you're gonna get on a plane on Sunday. Okay, and then we might see you back in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. I haven't gone on a plane in 5 years. Okay, and I will eventually because I might have surgery on my hip, but I don't know. So cutting down on the amount of travel you do also is another way of softening off the print that we're leaving behind. So it doesn't look pretty. The picture out there is globally on a planetary scale. It doesn't look, because we don't. Markets are controlling us, and capital is controlling us humans. The democratic system, the world doesn't have a democratic system to deal with all this stuff. With the way we have created this, so it's human creation is a human problem. But at the same time, we just don't have the political will at this point where we can address it and live with it. So people out there just need to be able to change their habits so they can live happy, have children. And again, the consumeristic society is just destroying the world. And people are banging and selling you more and selling you more, and people are buying more and buying more, and in the process, not only they're buying items, but they're buying items that are killing them.
Yeah.
Such as all this junk food.
Yeah, that's another problem.
Cigarettes is big. A pack of cigarettes here in Nicaragua is less than $1. So Europeans come, Americans come, Canadians come, and they know, my God, it's so cheap to smoke. The same thing goes with booze. So what do? They change their behavior completely when they arrive here because it's so cheap to get wasted. Whether it's with beer, wine, or flor de caña, or wonderful rum. And also that generates garbage.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like everywhere it's a problem of producing more than you're consuming, and so it accumulates.
It just piles up and piles up.
Being sustainable.
Yeah, sustainability. A lot of companies out there, they just do a massage on sustainability. They don't really put their profits at play. The only serious attempt that I've seen here in Nicaragua has been the beer company by by spending $30,000 US a year through Fuente Pura to deal with their own problem. But they're not only dealing with their own problem, they're dealing with everybody else's problem. So they're helping Coke, Pepsi, and all the other cousins to get rid of the trash or handle the trash responsibly in the island. So they funded those tables, those circular tables. By the end of this year, we're going to have close to 30 tables done at the public schools. And that funding comes from Fuente Pura. So they are focusing on that. But you talk to Coke and they look the other way. You talk to Pepsi, they look the other way. You talk to several other companies because you're touching their profits. Every time you ask them, is their bottom line. And they hate to stick their hands in their pocket and say, here it is, let's do it. So this is what we have to find. Politically, we need more people pressing on, writing, calling them, calling Colgate, calling Procter & Gamble, calling all these multinationals that are generating immense amounts of trash. But the consumer so far is not doing it. So politically, it's not a problem for them because people are not complaining.
I feel like a lot of people are aware, but it's just a matter of the motivation. It takes a little bit more effort, like to recycle or to, even fill up a bottle like this.
It's easy just to buy another one. And people don't plan. If people will think ahead of time, they will actually bring in their suitcases, reusable bottles. But you have to be on that frame of mind. So consumers, tourists and locals alike have to change their habits, and you can only do that through innovation, leadership skills, education, and you have to be constantly hammer all these problems onto people. So I'm a walking stick on garbage. You see me all the time giving out tours, explaining to tourists the problem, what we're doing, what's happening. The 1,900 wall with 1,900 bottles embedded in it, that's a testament to the world that we're not being governed. The garbage is not being governed. There's no taxation on it. There might be taxation in Thomasville, or in Tallahassee, or Hamburg, Germany, but not here. There's no taxation at all on garbage. So people just throw it away, burn it. It's another nasty way of,
it's not a good smell.
and it's not good for you. It's not good for your lungs.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll see you again in the near future. Maybe you can bring your parents. Maybe we'll give them a nice room on the second floor overlooking Lake Nicaragua with beautiful sunsets. And,
yes, thank you for sharing your perspective and your opinions about everything.
you're welcome.
All right.
See you again.
See you.